Hey, what to do, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're just having a great day. So as you guys can tell, we got the Polaris all torn apart. I started working on it. You guys can see that the intake manifold is missing. And I was hoping that that was gonna be like a quick repair, but that's gonna be a whole thing. It's got some serious problems. We've been living the shop life pretty good lately. I got the scissor lift up and working. Super stoked on that. We're gonna be able to use it up on the wedding venue. Let's go ahead and take some time to appreciate this bad boy right here, this Kubota ZD326. This thing gave me some serious lawnmower envy. The Cub Cadet is good, but that thing is awesome. I just finished fixing it. The last thing I have to do is put new blades on it. So as much as I wanted to make today's video about this, we're waiting on a whole slew of parts, and you guys are not gonna believe what happened to that thing. It's pretty unreal. I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen so myself. But because we don't have the parts, we are going to be working on something else. And for those of you who watched the last video that we posted, you may have picked up that we are starting to build a wedding venue up top, which is pretty huge. It's something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. And today we're gonna start probably one of the cooler projects. Well, the mini kitchen slash bar might be even cooler, but we're also waiting on stuff for that. So what we got going on today is we're going to be converting some wine barrels, some cross braces, big power pole, market lights into a cool looking pavilion. And I'm hoping that it's gonna turn out as cool as I think it's gonna be. We're gonna have some welding to do, some stuff with the heavy equipment. We may be getting an old boom lift at some point in this video. Scissor lift definitely be going to work. Should be a pretty good video. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead and jump on into it and let's roll. So basically what we got going on, I picked up a ton of wine barrels. So where we left off the other day, we just got done spreading out all the barrels. All right, so right now you guys can see we have the post in there. We've already started to put a little bit boom. So we're pretty much done here. He's gonna go ahead and mosey on out. All right, so I'm gonna go and show you guys our sweet little boom lift that we picked up. It's a snorkel lift, 30-foot reach. I'm actually still learning a bunch about this, trying to figure it out. I think this is gonna be how we turn it on. And then if we're really on our A game and we get all the lights hung and strung today, we're going to be adding another row of lights to go from the post. Basically, are you wanting to go up in the air and then drop them? All right, so if you guys remember the last video, we had the big excavator up here. We had the drone up in the air. Basically, we did some real quick footage of us setting this pole and that pole over there. I have not squared up or plumbed up that pole that's over there yet, but this one's pretty close. After we set it, I got kind of busy and didn't really have a whole lot of time to work up here. So it could go just a hair more out that way. So I'm gonna push on it just a little bit with the excavator to see if we can get it to go just a little bit more. And then we'll try and pack some more dirt in there to try and keep it that way. But basically what we got going on is inside the stock trailer, I have a ton of wine barrels that I picked up over the weekend. So basically what we got going on, I picked up a ton of wine barrels. The guy threw these in for free just because we ended up buying so many of them. But these are super thick. They're made out of Hungarian oak, whatever that means. I don't know. These are heavy. Each one weighs about 105 pounds. Basically what we're gonna be doing with these things is using them as post bases. These will not be post bases. We're thinking about making these into like little drink servers. Basically waterproof this and put ice in there. I don't know. These are free. We don't know what we're gonna do with them yet, but as far as these go, oh, this one's French oak. Never mind. Some are Hungarian oak, some are French. I don't know what the difference is. I do know that they're thick and they're heavy and they look really cool. So what we're gonna be doing is we are going to be placing 9 of them in basically like a seashell shape. We're gonna be running cables up to the top of that pole. Whether or not we keep that pole full length is another story. That depends on the boom lift. But we need to get marked out where we're gonna be setting these things. They need to be uniform. They need to have a good design to it. So that's what we're gonna try and figure out right now. I got a can of marking paint with me. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire up the excavator, try and push that pole over a little bit, and then we'll get the excavator out of the way because we're not gonna need it anymore in this section after we get that post or pole exactly where we need it. All right, well now that we got the pole pretty much plumb, it's really close. As I referenced it from that pole to the pole that's behind it, they're not too bad. The next thing that we're gonna be doing is actually removing these old poles, but I'm gonna do that gently because there's actually electrical lines that have been ran to that pole and that pole right here. So I don't wanna just like push them over. We're gonna try and conserve the conduit run that actually goes back to the stables over there. But I'm gonna run down and grab all the posts that we're using while we have the forks on the 299 because That's the last thing that I actually need the forks for, and then we can swap them out to the bucket, because tomorrow, come on, door, we are going to be grading this area right here behind the trees to get it nice and smooth. The 299 is a little bit loud on the inside when I'm moving around, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys what we got. These are fiberglass posts. They're actually cross braces, but they're super, super weather resistant, and they're gonna work great for what we need. We're gonna go ahead and get them up there. We actually have more than we need up there, and I didn't feel like cutting them and having the pallet fall apart before we got up there. So we'll get it up there, we'll cut them open, and then I'll kind of show you guys a little bit better what we got going on in great detail. All right, so a whole lot of brainstorming just happened, but as you guys can see behind me, we do have all of the barrels placed in a nice, even radius set all the way around here. Ends right there. Now tomorrow, the first thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be leveling out where these things are individually sitting. We're still trying to keep this kind of like natural looking, so I'm not going to make this like completely straight edge. I'm just going to flatten out where each individual barrel sits. Then we'll go ahead and taper off a little bit, kind of make it nice and gradual. And then this little area right here, I am going to make that one flat, 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 because this is where the ceremony is going to be. We're going to put the archway right there in the middle of that pole. You guys, just look how beautiful that is. Just a gorgeous view back here. And then we're gonna carry on this way. And I think it's gonna look really, really cool once it's all done. Now, originally when we had the idea of doing this right here, we were gonna do one big light structure pavilion thing right here, and we were gonna do another one over there. But as we're up here talking and looking at it, my wife and my in-laws are actually over here too, brainstorming with us. This in itself right here is a huge area. It's massive. And so basically what we're going to be doing is, instead of making this like a reception or a ceremony area, we're going to be making all of that in this area right here. And then where you see the link belt parked right now, we're gonna make that the parking lot. And that way we don't have to interfere too much with the stables. And then I guess if we had to, I could put some extra parking over by that big pen that I made for Honey that her and Angus Conn are in right now. But honestly, I don't see a huge demand for that. I think we'll be able to fit the bulk of it right here. And then where you see the backhoe behind me, the 299, this is going to be coming out. We are going to be making this pretty much like cocktail hour. And then up where you see my GMC, we're going to go ahead and turn the sprinklers on up there, start to get that all nice and green again. We'll probably put some games up there for like kids to play during the reception and whatnot. Adults that want to have fun too. I don't know. We're not 100% sure what to do with that area though, but we are going to turn the sprinklers on again, get it nice and green. So I have never officially measured these posts right here. I'm pretty sure they're 12 feet long. We're gonna go ahead and find out together. It's just been my educated guess for years that they were 12 feet long, and it's looking like they are. So tomorrow we are going to be having a busy day. My goal by the end of day tomorrow is to have a post in every single one of these barrels, have it plumbed this way, have a cable ran from the post up to whatever determined spot we have up on top of that pole right there, wherever we end up cutting it. I want to have this graded smooth, and then if everything goes right, goes smooth enough, we'll start hanging lights from everything. And this is where that scissor lift is going to come in handy. Granted, it's not like an all-terrain lift, but we are going to bring it up here. We're going to see how high up we can go, and hopefully it works as well up here as it did down in the shop. So I'm super excited for tomorrow because I actually have 0 scheduled for work, which is kind of a bad thing on a Tuesday, but we're going to keep moving forward, and I'm very excited to have this actually start to look like something. And it's just gonna be an awesome day tomorrow. But now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably go air up the tire on the water truck because it was on the ground this morning. Hopefully that doesn't give me any issues. I'm not gonna worry about it too much right now, but yeah, I'll see you guys first thing in the morning. All right, so finally got home at a decent hour today. I thought this week was actually gonna be kind of a slow week, and it's ended up being pretty busy, which is actually a good thing. So I'm not gonna complain too much, but we got about 6-7 hours of sunlight left today. So we're gonna try and make the best of it. So where we left off the other day, we just got done spreading out all the barrels. Don't know that we're gonna need 9. We turned on a bunch of the market lights that we have, and I don't know that we need 9 strands coming out here. Maybe too bright. So we're gonna start off with 5. We're gonna leave that one, that one, that one, and that one not hooked up to anything yet. We're gonna start off with the 5 posts. We're gonna run all the market lights up to that big post up there. And then if we don't think it's bright enough and that it could use more lighting, we'll go ahead and finish off the other 4. So we're gonna go ahead and actually get started with modifying the barrels. The guy that I picked them up from, super helpful, super nice guy, gave me a couple of tips on actually how to work with these things. And he said for taking the lids off, it's actually really easy. You just want to take your skill saw and you want to rip it down the center. Obviously, we're going to try and not booger up the edges too much. But once you have this cut, basically said you just hit it. We'll see if I can actually hit it hard enough with my hand. I may need to run down and go grab a mallet or a dead blow or something. Who thinks I can karate chop this thing hard enough to bust it open? Now keep in mind, we are not cut all the way through. And this is pretty thick oak. This stuff's like pretty solid. I'm kind of thinking I can't do it. Try my right hand. That's definitely not gonna happen. I'm gonna need to go grab a hammer. So I could get back to work right away. We got a sledgehammer right there. But since I'm in the $2.99 already, we are gonna go ahead and do everything that the $2.99 needs to do real quick. So there's a real good chance that I make a huge mess when I'm moving these around right now. They used to be all strapped up, and now they're not. So we'll see how this goes. I do need to get this table moved out of the way real quick. I don't think we want all these screws laying around the property though. That would not be good if they ended up in the tire. I think that's it. And this stack of wood has actually been blocking me from working on quite a few other projects. Oh, let me go ahead and pull back forward. We got the old Kawasaki quad right there, which I want to bring back to life as well. Kind of screwed up. I should not have, or did I? No, I did not mess up. For some reason I thought I had cut that one first, which I'm like, if we're not using those, then probably shouldn't have cut it. But I did cut the right one first. I'm gonna go ahead and try and bust it open with a hammer. We'll see how this goes. So I kind of think that I can pop one of these lids out without actually cutting it with the saw. So we're gonna go ahead and find out on this guy to see if it works. But I don't have anything to set my camera up on over here, so you guys are gonna get some footage from far away. Well, we got ourselves a little problem. Doing it this way definitely was harder on the barrel. You guys can see I broke off a couple pieces right here. We can glue those back in. That's not going to be the end of the world. But I also don't know if this lid was the same as the other lid. This one has nails in it, which would destroy my saw blade. So I don't know. I don't know which one I want to do. I think I might have just got lucky on that one. I think we're just going to smash them with a hammer and make minor repairs later. I'm definitely going to be saving these pieces. I think I can slide them back in for the time being, and I don't think they'll go anywhere. Yeah, I'll definitely be able to save those. And you guys can't even tell right now. Just slide them back into place. So we're gonna go ahead and try the old sledgehammer with this one. We're not gonna do the dead blow, see how it does. Yeah, this one definitely has nails in it as well. So we're definitely not going to be using the saw because I don't want to trash my blade. So after doing 3 of these, I have a much better technique already. We're going to go ahead and knock out these 2 center ones, then basically just hit it from the side a little bit, and the 2 end pieces will just fall in. Let's see if I can do it on camera for you guys. Come on. Not that it really matters. It just never goes as good on camera as when you're doing it without a camera. Literally just barely tap this side. You guys can see that whole half fell in. We're gonna try it on this one too. That's how it worked the first time. Anyways, we are done breaking the lids off for now. We're gonna keep the rest of these ones intact because I don't know 100% if we're gonna need them, but if we do, then we'll go ahead and pop the lids off. So another thing that we're trying to accomplish with these barrels is we're trying to get them to look old, but we don't want them to deteriorate as well. So right here I have my specially formulated blend of special antiquing agent that we're gonna go ahead and just put a little bit on here and see what it does to this lid. And then if it works really good, we may be doing it to the rest of them. And we'll be repurposing some old materials. I'm not gonna say what it is, but you guys could probably figure that one out. So I'm not gonna say that it looks old, but I think it does look pretty good. It kind of looks like just a dark wood stain, but it's definitely gonna do a good job of helping these barrels last a little bit longer than they would in their current state. So we're not gonna do that right now. I just was doing a quick test. I actually have a bunch of stuff that I need to figure out now. Just designing this as I go. So this one might take me a little bit to figure out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my camera back on the charger because it's almost dead. And then by the time it's charged up, hopefully I have everything figured out on how to get these posts exactly where I want them. Well, so far these things are turning out pretty cool. As you guys can tell, we have one done 100% behind me. It's filled with DG and some rocks and some other stuff. Roughly, these are supposed to weigh about 700 to 800 pounds. So that's a pretty heavy base. Is it indestructible? No. If I were to give all my pushing force that I had into that thing, I might be able to push it over just because of how tall that is. But we are only hanging a couple lights off of these things, so I'm not super concerned about it. The only thing that we're having a hard time figuring out is if we want to trim these posts, if these are too tall for that barrel, if they're misproportioned or not. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. We're gonna leave them as is for now. We're gonna run the cables up to there. We're gonna see how the lights look. If we don't like it, then we will trim them and shorten them up. But I would rather leave them as it is because they do have a top cap on there that is kind of part of the fiberglass pole. And I'd rather not have to redo a bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna leave them as is for now. I still have 3 more to do, and it's actually ending up being really, really easy. Basically all we're doing is I'm actually cutting a rectangular hole in the base right here so that the post can just kind of slide through and come down and sit on the ground. All right, so right now you guys can see that we have the post in there. Now we've already started to put a little bit of dirt in there, but we basically just put one cross brace in here. It's screwed in from the side on both sides, and then we got 2 screws coming in right here to hold this post in place. And then once this entire thing's full of dirt, that thing's not going anywhere. Especially once we compact it, it'll be pretty locked into place. And that's it. That's all there is to these posts. I think they're gonna be awesome. So we're gonna keep filling this up. And yeah, that's about it. Muscles?
Muscle.
Looking good.
Thank you.
It's really deceiving how much dirt fits inside one of those barrels. You guys can tell we've almost emptied out the entire bucket already. We have just a little bit more over there. And not that there's like a whole lot more to go, but it's a lot easier to dump dirt with the tractor than it is to shovel it. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this last little bit in there with the tractor. We got a couple big chunks in there, but man, this door's getting harder and harder to open. But that's gonna be okay. As you can see, we got pretty much topped off. I'm not super concerned about this anyways, but go ahead and take the rocks out. Spread this around, and I'll pack it in a little bit with the shovel handle. All right, so for a little bit, I didn't think we were gonna get finished today, at least with setting the posts. You guys, the more and more that I look at this, it's not gonna show up on camera, but it's looking really, really cool. I love the radius that we have with each of these barrels. And I think the post height is just gonna be perfect. I think it's gonna be exactly where we want it. All I have left to do is I gotta put the plug in this one, and then I gotta go ahead and fill this up with dirt. And we are done with setting these posts, but you guys, this just turned out super, super cool. Kind of wish I didn't have work tomorrow so I could keep working on this, because as we get farther and farther along, you guys, I'm just loving every bit of this. It's looking super, super cool. So as soon as I'm done filling this thing up with dirt, if I still have some daylight left, I'm gonna go over a couple more things real quick with you guys. So let me go ahead and put the camera down and get this thing filled up. All right, well, it's getting too dark for anything to show up on camera, but awesome progress was made today. These wine barrels are just looking fantastic, you guys. They look so good. It's gonna look super awesome at night when we flip this switch on and this whole area just lights up. Hopefully it's not too bright, because I really don't want to bother my neighbors. And even though my direct neighbors are cool with what we got going on, I don't know about everybody else down the road, so I'm trying to be as polite as I can and not make something that's just absolutely outrageous. But at the same point, I still want it to be nice. So anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, so we had some pretty exciting stuff show up yesterday, but we do have to take care of one of our steers real quick. This one right here's got some pink eye, so I picked up some medicine from the vet yesterday. We're gonna go ahead and run him in the squeeze real quick, try and get some ointment in there, and hopefully it starts to clear up a little bit. A lot of times it'll tend to clear up by itself, but you guys can see we have him isolated from the rest of the herd that goes out onto the pasture. Looks like 2 of them have already taken off, but we don't want it spreading through the rest of the cattle, so we're gonna try and get him taken care of real quick. Looks like we got some extracurricular activities going on over here. And as soon as this is done, I'm gonna go show you guys the old piece of equipment that showed up yesterday that I'm super excited for, but I gotta take care of this guy first. So the pink eye is looking a little bit better today. About 2 days ago, it was really bad. I think it's starting to clear up. Hopefully we were able to isolate him fast enough to where it doesn't spread through the rest of it. We've gotten his eye cleaned up pretty good, but we're gonna try and get it a little bit better. We're gonna bring some warm water out here real quick. We're gonna try and get it super clean. And then from there, we'll go ahead and put the ointment on it. All right, so we're pretty much done here. Got him all cleaned up. I did have to wipe some ointment straight into his eye. So we're pretty much done here. He's gonna go ahead and mosey on out. Because as soon as he's better, we can go ahead and integrate him with the herd, because we have another steer that's got some minor issues that we need to get him in here to treat as well, but I don't wanna mix the 2 of them. So anyways, we're gonna give him another day or 2, and we're actually gonna go ahead and move our dairy cow up with our bull because she is super in heat right now. And then after that, I get to go work on the front of the property again. All right, so I'm gonna go and show you guys our sweet little boom lift that we picked up. It's a snorkel lift, 30-foot reach. It's got a couple small problems, nothing too major. A couple small leaks, which are not good on a boom lift. We are definitely gonna get them fixed. But what I wanna figure out today is how high this thing will go in relation to that one pole that we set to see how much we're actually gonna have to chop off. You ready to go for a ride? Yeah. Okay. We do have a couple other small issues that we need to fix as well, but we'll get to that point. I'm gonna go ahead and hand the camera off so I can focus on what we're doing. This thing works pretty good, huh? Yeah. Cows weren't too afraid of this thing, which I guess is a good thing. Sometimes when we're moving stuff around, it spooks them out just a little bit. All right, so I'm still not like super confident in this thing's abilities. We can get up higher if we wanted to. I could probably get up like another 3 feet, which will probably put us about 8 feet shy from the top, which is okay. But as I pan across and look over at the entryway, I think we're gonna be able to take that star down no problem. You guys remember when we put up that big massive star over there on the entryway? It was a whole production getting the excavator up there. With this thing, it's gonna be so much easier now. It's gonna be able to be done with one person, and I'm super excited to have this thing. So everything does work. We definitely should fix this. That's definitely not safe, but we're gonna go ahead and come back down, get me back on the ground. I do have a harness, which realistically I should be wearing. So I'm actually still learning a bunch about this, trying to figure it out. I think this is gonna be how we turn it on. There we go. So overall, it's a pretty solid unit. It does have that one leak that I definitely need to get fixed, but I think for today, we're gonna be able to get up there, we're gonna be able to do the work that we need, and then I'm actually gonna be showing you guys another piece of equipment that I picked up, I wanna say like a year ago, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with it, but when you guys get offered free stuff, you pick it up, and I have a use for it because the cylinder that I need to repair is actually in there. This has to come up and we're gonna be able to rest it on it. So it's gonna be a great addition to the ranch. Super excited for this thing. So really the only other problem with this is that the low speed and the high speed don't work. And we actually had to push it up with the 299 up that little tiny hill to get up here. It just didn't have the oomph to do it. And that's because the low speed, something with the solenoid is locked in place and it doesn't quite work. So not a huge deal. We can still get it around the ranch. We can still get up high if we need to. I am, however, going to do a ground test down here and fully extend this thing, see how high we can get it up, and see if I trust it before I go full tilt boogie all the way up to the top. But we are gonna go ahead and start to get some prep work done on these posts. We have some eyelets that we need to screw into the top of each of these. We got some cables that we got to make up. We got to get all the market lights that we bought up here. And by the end of the day, we will have cables strung from each one of these posts up to the top, and it's gonna look awesome. All right, so this is definitely the unsafe part of this. We need to go ahead and push this over. Hopefully it goes well. There's nothing that it can really land on, but we're gonna go ahead and go for it. Well, it didn't quite go like I planned. We did get it cut off, but it did bounce down, come back, and it unplugged my grinder. So now we gotta go back in. Yeah, definitely wreak some havoc on that plug. All right, well, I haven't tried this as of yet, but we're gonna go ahead and see if this key switch works. I know this works because that's how I shut it off when I got down here, but we'll go ahead and pull up that emergency stop. Let's see if this key switch will actually get this thing started. Oh, this thing just keeps getting better. Sputters a little bit when you're bringing the RPMs up, but whatever. So we got so close last night to getting all 5 strands done. We got that farthest one away right there, about halfway. And the reason that one's done halfway is because I figured out a way easier way to put these lights up. And that was to put all the zip ties on down here and then do them just like almost tight, but enough room for them to slide. Then we had a rope hooked up to it and I just pulled them all the way up top. And then we actually did turn them on last night and it looked super, super cool, but we've got these bays right here, basically in between the center one and the second to the outside one. Originally, we were gonna go with 9 strands of lights, and then we started thinking, that might be a little bit overkill. So we tried the 5 first, and it lit it up pretty good right here, but I think we need the 7. So you guys can tell the distance between that strand and that strand, that's a really big spread. That one's pretty big too, but we're gonna go ahead and you guys can see we put another post right there already. We're gonna be working on the second one right here. But anyways, it's looking super, super cool. I will show you guys some pictures from when we had the 5 lights and then when we light it up again tonight with the 7 strings. You guys let me know what you think. And then if we're really on our A game, when we get all the lights hung and strung today, we're going to be adding another row of lights that go from the post, basically wrap all the way around the perimeter. So my son just had a great idea. When we finish this whole project, instead of doing a mic drop, we're gonna do a plank drop. Is that what you think we should do?
Yeah.
Just like that? This kid's just been a powerhouse up here. He's been helping me with this entire thing. Anyways, I'm gonna put my camera down and get back to work. Otherwise, I'll never finish. So I'll see you guys around dusk. All right, well, we are done for the day. We finished up right as it was starting about to get dark. You guys can see we still got just a little bit of blue over there before it's like pitch black out here. But these lights just turned out super, super cool. I think the 7 was definitely the way to go. It's much brighter right here than it was last night with the 5. And with that outer ring right there, it just looks rad. I'm loving every bit of this. I don't think we're gonna need to do the 9. I think the 7 is gonna be sufficient. So now that this project's done, we gotta go ahead and put our thinking caps on and figure out what the next step is. But this just turned out super, super rad. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. I'm gonna go ahead and put the screws to it. My son just reminded me that we need to do the plank drop. Are you wanting to go up in the air and then drop them?
Yeah.
This crazy kid. All right, we're gonna go up a little bit in the man lift. We're gonna do our plank drop from 10 feet in the air, and then we'll go ahead and put the screws to it. All right, you ready for this?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna do it over here, okay?
Now it is
All right, hold out your hand. All right, here we go. We're gonna do the official plank drop now that we're done. Oh, you gotta put your hand out like this, all right? 1, 2, 3, and that's how we do it. We're gonna go ahead and check this project off the list. Thank you guys for watching. If you do me a huge solid like, subscribe, share this video with your amigos, hit that notification button down below so you guys can get to see progress on the wedding venue and all the other stuff that we got going on. And I'll see you guys next time. Later.